I watched this video today, and I was actually like really kind of mind blown. I want I want your guys' opinion on this. I think that the gentleman that put this video together did an exemplary job, by the way. Danny Sapko absolutely did a heck of an investigation. Uh, Let me know what you think.
Unbelievable things I've ever seen in music. What started out as maybe a bit of a joke became less and less of a joke the more I looked into it. Now, I prefer to stay on the lighter side of content, calling other creators mildly offensive names, occasionally playing bass. But this is a video that I feel had to be made. Hold on to your dipsticks. It's going to be a hell of a ride. So a couple of weeks ago, I made a video that featured this fella, Giacomo Tura. And there was a clip which showed him not at his best, which I decided to show the world. And I did recognise that I'd shown him in a bad light, and there were many better clips of him playing live. And so I did give him an apology in my own way. I am sorry, Davey. And you too, Giacomo. Bon gelati. No. And that's when this comment popped up about...
So what's crazy, and I read the comments on this particular one, you've got Levi Clay. It was good of you to apologize to Giacomo. Shame he hasn't apologized for stealing his arrangements. And then Davey504 comments as well, as I privately told Danny in that partially censored message he showed, I love his work in the way. Yeah. Danny, I think for Davey, a guy whose authenticity to both music and YouTube, I really respect, especially as a musician, to hop in on this was kind of nuts.
About him stealing music and selling it. And this investigation got so deep that I had to swap out the usual magnifying glass for something stronger. Now, as you watch this video, I want you to decide where the point is where you start to think this is unacceptable. Because all of this is subjective. But I guarantee there will be a point where you reach that level. So let me start by saying that Giacomo is a very talented man. His playing, mixing, and brightly coloured videos are a recipe for success. And in the last few...
You can't deny that the guy is a great player. That is one thing I need all of us to understand. My opinion is that he is a good player, but he is not a creative person.
Few years he's risen to fame, releasing signature instruments and signing up with top brands. Now, his videos are mostly pre-recorded. Nice whammy bar action here. Personally, I have no problem with that.
Hang on. Do you see the irony in that this guitar he's playing does not have a whammy bar or tremolo arm of any sort?
Whammy bar action here. Personally, I have no problem with that. Sometimes I do the same, and it's because my concentration face isn't as attractive when I'm trying to nail that perfect take. But he also repeats a lot of the same pre-recorded audio. Bit annoying, but again, not the worst crime in the world. I think we all have to do stuff we're not totally proud of as creators. Mine's using sexy female bassists as thumbnails. But the truth is, those videos get so many more views, and I couldn't survive without them at the moment. Anyway, I started looking into these comments and emailed a few people, and the responses I got were quite shocking. It turns out, from the very start of his social media rise, Giacomo's been using other people's compositions, not properly crediting the artist.
This is where it gets crazy.
And selling tabs and isolated tracks on his website and Patreon. Here's an early example from Jack Gardner. I've panned these comparisons left and right so you can hear the similarities.
This is the part that really blew my mind, and headphone listeners, identify yourselves in the chat or the YouTube comments. The reason I'm saying this is because the work that our boy Danny did on this to make the pans, to let you know really how shiesty what this is absolutely crazy to me. He panned them left and right, so you could hear the original, in theory, right? The original, and the original.
Example from Jack Gardner. I've panned these comparisons left and right so you can hear the similarities. On this video, there was initially no credit to Jack. And as you can see here, he replied to every single comment apart from the one mentioning him. Here's another one from Jack.
Every single comment but the one mentioning him.
Replied to every single comment apart from the one mentioning him. Here's another one from Jack. Here's one from Alex Hutchins. And look at the poor attempt of tagging the composer, buried in the YouTube Shorts description. He repeated this song while promoting his signature pickup with someone else's signature style.
This is the thing that is not cool, right? Like, this guy wrote it. This guy is amazing. That he made it with his brain. This guy is capable, right? But that's where it stops. Capable and pretty.
And again, bad tagging. Looking at the number of views, Giacomo could earn a comfortable living from the videos alone. But the real crime is that these were for sale as Giacomo's original transcriptions, with none of it going to the original source. This is especially bad when you consider that these two guitarists sell their own tabs and music scores. And some of the videos he's copying have barely any views. This one has 769.
This is what's really, this is actively plagiarism. That's what's messing me up. And in earlier,
And the credit is buried in the hard-to-find YouTube Shorts description, which is clearly not translating to any views or revenue to the composer of the guitar line. Here's another one with 57 views, compared with Giacomo's 66,000, with hundreds of thousands more on other platforms. And the credit says inspired by, when the truth is it's 75% identical. And a couple of...
The thing about inspired by, and this is like, so you know the song Stay With Me by Sam Smith. Sam Smith paid Tom Petty for that, right? And if you listen to those two, unless you're trying, you really can't tell, right? There is always going to be an element where there are just some song, but like when you're playing this genre, when you're digging that deep into what you're playing, those are very intentional movements. There's not just an accident in the world that makes that happen, even one time, let alone as many examples halfway through the video.
People I contacted were not happy about it at all. There are so many more examples I've found of this behaviour, and I feel this is just the tip of the iceberg. How many have I missed? Are there videos where he's used people's compositions and not credited them at all? I've been told that at this point Giacomo received some complaints and was forced to remove the transcriptions of other people's work that he was selling. But then he turned into some kind of private black market guitar tab guy. We can only assume he was doing the same but hidden away in private messages. Here's another example.
And this guy, Kingfish, if you like the blues, go listen to Kingfish play, okay? Kristen, I think his name is Christian, but like Chris Tone is how it's pronounced. It's how it's spelled. Yeah, I saw Clark just walk back outside. But for this guy, this is a big one to be trying to rip off.
Here's another example. At this point, I found an interview with him where he rates his own arranging.
Arranging, I think I'm pretty good at that. I will say 8.
Based on what's been uncovered so far, I reckon he couldn't arrange a prayer in a mosque. But now it's time for the main event. At this point, I imagine Giacomo's probably feeling like... Choo-choo, you bastards! But I'm sorry to say it's going to get a whole lot bloody worse with the next thing I discovered. He's going to have a face like I've just opened his fridge and pissed in the ricotta. But this isn't the end of the story with the fraudulent transcriptions. More on that in a second. Last year he released The Way She Wants, gaining hundreds of thousands of streams and views, crediting himself as the original composer and using it at the forefront of his upcoming tour of the USA. But I found an earlier version from 2022, which says inspired by the vibes of Tiago Gomez, untagged. Well, I tracked down this Tiago Gomez, a musician on Instagram with only 11,000 followers. And you're not gonna believe this. Just in case you didn't hear it already, here it is side by side.
I can't believe this!
I think Giacomo owes someone quite a lot of money. And in a cruel twist of fate, I've spent a week researching and making this video, and 100% of the money goes straight to Giacomo himself for the use of his music. I can't even turn monetization off.
So, for perspective, this is what's absolutely bonkers to me as a video creator. I go through pretty good lengths to make sure, even at the expense of annoying the frig out of my audience, that when I review and do commentary on music, it is not a suitable replacement for listening to the original content. I'm not sitting here playing Harvest Moon on my guitar saying I wrote that song. Nothing like that. You know, we jump in and discover things. And when I upload those, I have to, for me to even be able to release the video, tell YouTube that I did that using fair use and like explaining how I altered the content from it just being a replacement for listening to the original song. This is what that screen looks like, okay? So he goes on a song that he did not write, and he gets it copyrighted, files, gets, backing for it, but it's a complete ripoff, and you can't even say inspired by. The appropriate term is a cover without credit or plagiarizing. That's the only answer there.
He goes straight to Giacomo himself for the use of his music. I can't even turn monetization off, so I've no choice but to pay the man. So I would be grateful of any donations via the link in the description. And for the cherry on top of the icing on this dipstick cake, I spent $12 on the recently released Giacomo Tura songbook, only to find he's still selling other people's work. In this video, he credits YouTuber Travis Dykes, and rightly so. And even though Travis is selling his own tab of his work...
Did you guys... That was not a one-track bass. That was two different basses being played, but you couldn't tell the difference if you don't have a trained ear.
And also, if you want the tabs for this, feel free to check out my Patreon, which is linked in the description below.
So is Giacomo. The prosecution rests. What a knobhead. Now, what am I hoping the outcome will be of this video? Do I want to destroy his music career forever, derail his upcoming US tour, forcing him to sell his home and take shelter under a carefully designed structure made up of unsold Giacomo Tura signature pickups? No, but it's time to right the wrongs for all the people who haven't been properly credited or paid for all their hard work. Change your ways, Giacomo, and have a fresh start. And stop being a plonker for the good of the world of music and of content creation. It would actually be good to hear his side of the story, and if there's anything I've misunderstood or misinterpreted, I will happily take it back. Please leave your thoughts in the comments section, and thank you again for watching the channel.
The only...
Just when I thought this tale couldn't get any more astonishing.
Go show this video some love and support. The only, in my opinion, excuse for him using those parts is that he paid those people up front to buy the rights to call it his. That's the only one. That I mean, it really, yeah. It inspired by is like hearing something and then trying a style like it, not I'm going to play that note for note to an indistinguishable point. Like, yes, Ween is inspired by Prince, Fish inspired by Zappa, right? Giz inspired by a many, right? They sound like characteristics of these things, but they're not act. I have a hard time with what that guy did. I further have a hard time with the idea that he's making all of this money on the merits and hard work and creativity of other people, and not only ripping them off as a musician, but promoting it with his platform as a creator. When I promise you, if somebody ripped off his ripped off work, he would be pissy about it. And that's frustrating. Like, a rat is a rat. That's not cool. Anyways, yeah, go give Danny Sapko a like and a subscribe. That was a tremendous video. I absolutely loved it. Guys, don't steal people's music and call it your own. Please and thank you.